All right, hello. Hello, everybody. We are a small bunch today, and I believe I apologize if it was the case. I believe it was perhaps because we had March break ending for some and beginning for others, and so a lot of you couldn't be here. But I'm gonna share the information that I have within this meeting so you can watch it and just get the new info that is coming up. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the new way to contact, because in my first email, it was wrong. It was info at, and there are going to be two ways for you to contact the NATTA Canada. So if you want to contact the office for any questions regarding regarding anything to do with the office, so CEs or membership, anything towards the office, then really use office at nadta.org. Actually, any question can go there, but I wanted to offer up my personal email if it was a question more specifically about Canada, a Canadian aspect. Example, you had a question regarding a specific training that was happening here, because what will happen is you're going to send it to the NADTA, and if it's specific Canada, they're going to bounce it back to me. If it's the office, they'll be able to answer those questions from the office, but if it's Canadian, they're just going to bounce it back to me anyway. And so feel free to use my personal email, which is my last name, Cody, COADY, at me.com. So again, office, uh, office at nadta.org or Cody at me.com for any of those questions. So I really wanted to, because we have a new way of contact. It's great. I think all of you have seen that with the emails just about this meeting. Uh, the office is doing a really good job at consolidating everything, and the communication I think is going to be a lot better. So I'm excited about that. I wanted to share that with you. Um, the second thing I wanted to share with you guys is I don't think you've received information about it yet, but I wanted to give you a heads up. We're creating a virtual conference. So in lieu of people not being able to come to the in-person October conference, we're having a virtual conference that is going to be kind of the full day, especially for us here in the East. Well, no, it's going to be a full day for everybody. It's going to be on May 24th. There are going to be 90-minute sessions with a break, I believe, starting. I don't know if it's for everybody. I know in the East it's starting at kind of 11, going for us till 9 o'clock at night, and 90-minute sessions, a break, 90-minute sessions, lunch. It's going to go a full day. And so within the next couple of weeks, look out for those emails, because we're going to be putting out the information to do calls for presentations. You're submitting your proposals, and you'll be able to get the CEs for presenting and attending. So it's not just going to be, informational. They'll be able to have CEs for that. So that's going to be coming up in the next week or two. You guys are going to get blasted with more information, but that's really exciting to be able to have this virtual. And that's our plan, to have the live event in October, and then a virtual thing happening in May, so that we can kind of answer. We just looked at it this year in the conference to sort of have the conference actually be virtual at the same time, and it's just not possible. It's really expensive. There's a lot of technical issues. So this way we can give people who can't make it to in-person conferences, we can give them the a way to kind of share that information, and another exciting way to be able to present. And I think it'll be fun for anybody who hasn't presented to kind of start with a 90-minute and get in. So I'm going to invite you guys, especially Canadians. Let's get involved. Let's get some presentations in there. Let's get ourselves known and seen, if you will. So that was a virtual conference. The next thing I wanted to talk about was what I'm working on. So in the interest of representing Canada, as I mentioned, well, I mentioned to the people before, but this is the national I mean, it used to be the National Drama Therapy Association, and now because Canada has had such a great presence, we're now the North American Drama Therapy Association. And so I'm working on possibilities to get some of the things that we're paying for working at par. Uh, we really showed up at the last year's conference. It was in Toronto, and we showed up in a way that everybody really noticed. Our volunteers were above, and we got it done so fast. So right now, they're already working and having meetings about next year's conference. And we got this conference done in a matter of months. And that was, I mean, obviously we had a lot of people in the board that it's amazing. But I would say our Canadian volunteers really made that happen. I'm so proud to represent you. I just think it's absolutely amazing, and 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 they saw it. And so I think it's a time to sort of talk about what's important to us, uh, ask for what's important to us. So I'm really working at trying to get some things at par. It's being presented, it's being worked on. There's a lot of logistical things of how to do that, and things that we're paying for in American money. So I will get back to you, but that's definitely the things that I'm working on. Um, I've also applied for my CBT to become a certified board trainer. And I think uh, we don't have a lot of those in Canada. And what's really interesting about that is for all of the alternative tracks, we have, I'm learning, a lot more people wanting to do alternative track in Canada than we had before. And a lot of people have to try find an American person uh, to help them through that process because we don't have really a lot of Canadians. So I'm working on that to hopefully be able to help people out, and I invite other Canadians because I think it's a really great opportunity to help each other out and to be able to provide something from Canadians to Canadians in a Canadian price, in a Canadian concept and understanding. So that's the other thing that I'm working on, to be able to provide for Canadians. Meeting schedules. So how I would like to see this go, this is a thought, and I would love your feedback. So I am going to present to you all the ideas of how I thought we could meet during the year. Please feel free to write to me if you have other ideas. This isn't anything set in stone. I really want to make this work and make sense for Canadians. So my idea was for us to have a bi-monthly meeting, just an hour, and how that meeting would work on a Sunday evening, how that meeting would work is that we would meet all together for the first half hour, where I would give you sort of what I'm doing now, the generalized information. If anybody has a generalized topic they'd like to present, by all means, please contact me before, and we can create that space for that. The second half hour, I will create 4 meeting rooms that we will breakout rooms. One will be for the West Coast drama therapists, one will be for Ontario drama therapists, one will be for Quebec, and one will be for the Maritimes. And when we break out into those spaces, that'll be a space for everybody from that province to talk about province specific needs, share province specific information, and be able to create questions and or needs that then can be brought back to the NADTA. I know that in a few of the provinces, there are different associations that we want the NADTA to sit on. So for instance, in BC, there's FACT BC, there's FACT Manitoba, I believe. And those are just associations for psychotherapists there that we sit on. I've gone to a few of those meetings, and I feel a little impotent at those meetings because I don't live there. I don't know the needs necessarily of either that what psychotherapists need there, what drama therapists need there. So I don't necessarily want to ask for the other people to volunteer and represent. However, I think that if we have these bi-monthly meetings, we can sort of share the responsibility together of what needs to be tackled, what is, and decide together the best way to do that, as opposed to having this one way to answer, or for me, as the Canadian rep who lives in Quebec to be able to look all over. We in the States, they have an Eastern rep, a Western rep, a mid rep, I think is the the mid of the United States. And here, because we don't have that many, Manitoba, I believe, has 4 members, if I'm not mistaken. They've kind of lumped us together, but I want to create the space where we're able to really see the individuality of our provinces and the needs. So that is how I want to see it. The next meeting, I'll say it at the end as well, will be May 4th, the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, please feel free to contact me uh, if you have any more information or any more ideas about this. Again, they will all of these will be recorded, and so when you can't come, they'll be recorded and again sent out to the Canadians so they have the opportunity to watch this and again respond and converse with me. I really want to hear from you guys. I'm happy to represent you. I don't want to be the only one talking for Canada because we're such a big country. It doesn't make sense for one person to be talking. So that's how I'm seeing that. I am also really flexible. If this isn't something that doesn't make sense for us, not working, we can come back to the drawing board. But for now, I think this is the way we'll do it, and we'll see how that works. What can I hold? So that's the other thing. So what can I hold? I want you to come at me with anything that's office related that you need questions to. I might refer you to somebody, but I also want to be here to represent and answer any of your questions needed. So I just want you to know that I'm here for any office questions, and anything that is communication related. If there is, somebody was just bringing that up, this really new, exciting uh, uh, artist who is creating really great products for us to use in our drama therapy kits. I want to hear about it. We were talking about this before we recorded, that I'm really well aware that we want to represent Canada financially. We want to support Canadian made products. And so I think that's also a space. So bring at me, like if you have that kind of information that you want to share to the rest of the Canadians, just give me anything that you want to share so that we can really create this great communication hub where we're sharing these kind of things. Yeah, and so in these spaces, what I'd like you to hold uh, in these individual meetings is anything that's community based, representation related to what your needs are in your province. Uh, I will ask that somebody take notes, not official meeting notes, but notes that I can then be able to grab what each province talked about and hold it together in one space. So again, I don't want to necessarily require this official uh, role in these meetings. I don't want you guys to feel like you necessarily have to come to meetings because you're the secretary, or if you can't, I don't want to add that stress. I want you to feel open to volunteer for anything that makes sense to you. So it will be a sort of non-official who is being represented and who can take notes at that time. Again, if that does not work and we need a little bit more of that officialness, because I tend to be a very sort of laid back, kind of flexible person, and I know not everybody's like that. And if that doesn't work, we can come back to that. So that's how we're going to do it for now. Now is the time for, it was a really short meeting because I sort of just put everything in. There's not a lot of us, but if there are any questions or concerns that anybody here has, please feel free to ask. If not, this short little meeting is just going to be presented to the rest of you, and hopefully we will be able to see you on May 4th, 6 Eastern Standard Time. So I open it up. Are there any questions, concerns, ideas, thoughts about what was shared? It's okay if there's not. I just wanted to open the space.
Cindy, can I ask? I think there can sometimes be difficulty of trying to gather people to all attend one meeting.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm thinking about like in Ontario, I know that we exist. I know there's some of us, and I know that we're very physically distant and like not well connected. And so
Yeah.
I'm not sure if like do we have lists of like who's where, or do we have a sense like is there a way that people can connect via email to the people in their region? Um, Especially in Ontario because there's no training center here. I think we are very dispersed and don't necessarily know who's in the province. So I know that for me, that would be helpful to be able to connect with people without feeling like if I miss this meeting, then I don't connect with people, right?
Exactly, exactly. So when it comes to that, I think I'll have to ask the office just to find out about confidentiality and being able to give emails out. But that is kind of why I wanted to create these sub meetings so that when the Ontario group is meeting, somebody could say, okay, in Ontario, you know what? Nobody was able to actually come to today's meeting, but I've talked to a few people and we'd like to do our own meeting on such and such a date. I can give you NADTA, I believe, Zoom links if you guys want to meet outside of this, and that can kind of be discussed there. And my hope is that the Ontario sub meeting that happens, whatever information that I get from whoever took the notes, I'll be able to pass to all of the Ontarians so that this is a place that we're holding it. uh, I will talk about sharing emails with the board and get back to you on that. But again, that's my point of these sub meetings, to give you a space where you guys can make these decisions and then come back to me and ask, we'd really like to meet on these days, and I can give you a space to do that. I can come to the and participate in those meetings too. Very open to that. And I love what you're asking, Megan. I want you guys to be more connected in your provinces. So
Yeah.
that's kind of why I wanted to have that. I remember, for anybody who was there at the conference, when we had the Canadian meeting, we were talking about perhaps the idea I had then was almost every month would be a different province. But then I thought, okay, but then you've got months and months and months without connecting. So I thought if we do bi-monthly everybody, but then we have these breakout rooms, you're going to have bi-monthly connections that everybody knows is there, and that people can send information to that meeting, uh, so that more specific information can be passed and shared. And every province can kind of decide how they want to do that within that context or outside of it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's hard to like try to figure out how to strum up the energy, right? Everyone's so stretched and everyone has their limits, and so especially
Ex-
when there's not already there's some community in Ontario, but maybe not as strong as if we had a training center or university specific, in
exactly.
Ontario.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, just that hard balance of like getting the energy in the community and have people get enough out of the meeting to feel like it's worth their time.
Exactly.
And at the same time, like, yeah, so just trying to figure out how to,
Yeah.
it'll take some time, I think, but
I
I'm
think
excited
I, I
for it.
think you're right. It will take some time, and that's why I wanted to kind of create this consistent every by month, so that people know, okay, I can't again. Okay, I can't make it on May 4th, but I really want to connect with people. So that person writes to me and says, "Can you then make a note?" Because again, I see myself sort of creating these sub notes for each province as well. And I could easily say, hey, Megan couldn't make it, is can't make it on May 4th, but May really wants to be involved in sort of any decision making, or really wants to hear about this particular question that's coming up. Can you keep Megan involved and get everybody sort of uh, responsible for each other without having to be responsible? I'm holding the space, I'm holding it for you guys, but giving you a lot more of autonomy to do that connection. And I think it will take some time, but hopefully if we stay consistent with this, people will know and go, oh yeah, okay, the meetings. And again, be able to decide with support from the NATA if you need other options to meet or other ways of doing it that make more sense for you guys.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm taking up a lot of space, but there's not too many of us. I hope that's
There's
okay.
not too many of us.
um, if I'm remembering right, there's a Canadian region Instagram. Am I remembering that right? Did I make that up? I make that up.
It's I don't know if we have a Canadian specific one. When it comes to the social media, we have this social media person. I didn't know very much about it, but that is definitely something to.
I'm just thinking about how the conference chairs did a really great job last year, and everyone involved with the conference, like strumming up information and community through social media, and I'm just thinking with the difficulties of trying to meet so many needs and get information out to people who are already information loaded,
Yeah.
overloaded, I should say, that social media might be helpful. I just can't remember if there's a Canadian Instagram or
There
not.
is.
There is, right? But it's like hasn't been touched in years. Like maybe,
Uh, the last post was 2019.
yeah. I'm wondering
But
if we could use that tool to our benefit. Um, yeah.
Use the tool.
I'm also, so I was about to say, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Megan, but
No, it's a great
while you
discussion.
were talking and just saying, especially in Ontario, like you don't have like a school or something or anything to just gather, whatever.
Yeah.
But at Concordia, all graduates in creative arts therapies, there's the Facebook group, right? So I'm part of it because of the play therapy that I graduated from,
Mhm.
and I'm learning so much from that group. Because people are like, hey, I need so and so for one of my clients, and someone answers, and it's like, oh wow, okay, that's like great for future. Now, I don't know if we can have the like if we should just have a Canadian Facebook group, or if every region would have their own, and but I don't know if that would fall under the NADTA guidelines because
I think no, these are great questions, and I think that um, I've asked about it, and then somebody saying, "Oh, we're taking care of communication." I wasn't sure if that meant our social media. I'm glad to see it hasn't. Not I'm glad to see. I now know it hasn't been touched since 2019. So I think it's a great way.
just
Let's
the
make it
Canadian one. The NADTA drama therapy
has been. But no, I love that was the point of us collecting here going, how do we connect with just Canadians? How do we get the information out? And what I'm hearing from you, Megan, is maybe the emails are these overloads where you get all of this information, you're trying to read and going, okay, great. But if we had the same thing on Instagram, or so we got Instagram and Facebook, right?
or a Google Doc. Like, what's that? The thing that the NADTA has, like with the resources and all the publications. You know the way that Google Doc
Yeah. Yeah.
is divided.
And that's another way to communicate. But I think what could be interesting about Instagram and Facebook is just a blast that says, hey, there's information about this on
Absolutely.
if it's a longer piece of information on the Google Docs, on the website. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
they're coming up with the symposium, look that up. So I will make that my homework.
And even just like faces, because email blasts, like, and you
Yeah.
don't, and then sometimes it's CC'd, so you don't see. I wonder if like people would be interested or open to being, what's that called? Spotlighted on
Spotlighted
social
on it.
media and be like, hi, I'm Megan. I'm in Kitchener, Ontario. I've been at RDT since 20, whatever it was. And so that we can see faces, because I think that's part of it
Great.
too. Like there's the overload of information, but it's also the lack of like face,
Mm-hmm.
body. It's not embodied,
Yeah.
virtual bodied, but still,
Perfect.
yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. It was just trying to get our communication under control via email was a big journey this year. And now that that seems to be under control, I love to, that's my role, is what makes the most sense. So I am totally into jumping on that, getting the, how do I kind of take control of it? And I totally agree. Putting in, whether it's NADTA information or information from our members, and just the things that are happening can be another way. And I think that is a space where we can keep it just Canada. I don't think there'll be enough information coming out to necessarily do it. Hey, if for a while a lot of things are happening in Ontario and those are the posts, well, again, just because something's happening in Ontario doesn't mean that resource wouldn't be inspirational or important versus a particular meeting that's, oh, look, the Ontario people met. Hey, people from from Quebec, maybe we should be doing it. Could be inspirational as well. So I like this idea. I'm gonna jump on it and hopefully have something for you guys soon.
And I like that idea too. So I guess yeah, so have like one either an Instagram or whatever. And I do like in hearing what's going on in other provinces because
Yeah.
I'm like trying to plan where do I want to work and do I want to stay in Quebec? That seems so determined to not make me practice.
Yeah, I couldn't say that enough. I couldn't agree
Mm,
with you more. As a teacher at Concordia, and we're getting close to graduation, all of these students are going, I think I want to move.
mm,
Uh, and I don't really know where. And I would love to be able to give them a, hey, why don't you talk to so and so in
mhm,
these places? So I agree, and I like that idea, Megan. If we have more faces, it'll be easier to go, yeah, I'll contact that person. I saw them being highlighted and they're doing the same work. I really want to work with kids. They're working with kids. Oh, you did, Serena, you did the play therapy. Really interested in that. How did that go? How is it making work for you? Is there other places? Because there's online training in Canada too, not
mhm.
necessarily for CCPT, but other play therapies. And so perhaps getting those kind of conversations happening as well. So I like that. Perfect. Well, thank you. Do we feel complete with the questions and comments?
For now, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It was a tiny little meeting, but the first of many bi-monthly meetings that we will start to connect, hear more, stay connected, learn more about each other so that we're an even bigger force to be reckoned with, this country of ours. Thank you.
Actually, I have one more question.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Can
Go
you
ahead.
can you repeat your personal email so I'm
Yeah,
not emailing
it's
you
it's
to
my
contact
last name, Cody. So
Cody?
you can see it on my thing,
Yeah.
Cody, Cody at me.com.
Okay.
Please feel free to use
Perfect.
that one, especially if it's a Canadian based question.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, if it's an office one, I'll be getting it from you and sending it back to the office. So office info, do the office at nadta.org, and Canada more information, just email me directly. Perfect. So again, the next meeting will be Sunday, May 4th at 6. First half hour general, second half hour, we're going to break up rooms. I will be sending this video out, and hopefully by then we will have some stuff on Instagram and Facebook to talk about and present about. I'm excited about that, and want to give you guys kind of what's important. So if that's what's showing up, great. And we will see each other soon. Let me know anything, write to me, keep me informed. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
All right.